to all of the girls on this call this morning. I know we're going to have an amazing conversation today. I think it's an important conversation. And I know that I'm definitely going to do justice to this conversation, right? I think we generally start imposter syndrome right up front and we say, I hope I do justice. I know I'm going to do justice to this conversation today. And really make sure that I add value and impact. I think it's important that I also state that I really want this conversation to be as engaging as possible. So I've created really fun slides. Guys, I promise you, my corporate slides do not look like this. But also we know that a lot of webinars are death by PowerPoint. And I think I really need to do as much justice to this conversation because it's an important conversation. So I thought, let me make it hip and funky and as engaging as possible. So Aqua, I think I have shared the codes with you for some of the activities that we're going to be running. But when I got a call to actually speak about this topic from Nobile, I was super excited. I think imposter syndrome is something that I have lived with. And it still creeps in every once in a while, right? So it's not something that is ever going to go away completely. And I think it's really how do we overcome it and how do we still show up with imposter syndrome anyway as our best self. So today is really a conversation around my lived experience. It's what is imposter syndrome, why, and how do we overcome it, how do we beat it and still show up as our best selves every single day. So my slides are quite different from a lot of speakers in different webinars. So bear with me, I promise you to all make sense eventually. Those of you who have access to the internet on your phones, on your laptops, please can I ask that you quickly go into Mentimeter, type in this code, and I've created a little bit of a quiz for you. If you can just click on this link, Aka will also put the code into the chat box. If you can please go onto this link and let's have a look at how we start this conversation. Yes. I'm seeing amazing words, really positive words, awesome words. Blessed, great, grateful, open, curious, excited, refreshed, energized, expectant, alive, optimistic, grateful. Lots of people are feeling grateful today. Lots of people are expecting to receive. I'm seeing happy. Awesome. This is great. Oh. Okay. I see 15 people on Mentimeter. I know that we've got a number of people on the call, so I'm going to give you some extra time.
How are you doing, Shalin? You're asking us, but I was asking you.
I am feeling excited. I am feeling really grateful for the platform to share my lived experience with imposter syndrome. It's something that I've battled for quite a while. It has gotten better over the years. I see someone saying they're feeling overwhelmed. Okay, I'm hoping that you feel a little bit better and understand that this overwhelming feeling, everybody goes through it, right? So I hope that you feel a little bit better later on. But yes, I'm feeling extremely excited and present this morning.
Thank you for coming. Wow.
You are so welcome. So Aka, I will share these the screenshots with you as we go through the slides. Okay. Okay. Let's go. So the other question is, what best describes imposter syndrome? So let's go back into Mentimeter, same code, and please let me know which of the three you think best describes imposter syndrome. I'm seeing people saying feeling like a fraud, feeling unworthy of your achievements. Feeling great to be recognized, I deserve this. More people saying feeling unworthy of your achievements, feeling like a fraud. I've got 10 people under feeling unworthy of your achievements, 4 people under feeling like a fraud, 12 people under feeling unworthy of your achievements. Okay. Feeling like a fraud is going up. Awesome. Okay. So I'm going to stop with the Mentimeter now and go back to my slides that are a little bit unconventional for a Saturday morning webinar. So, Aka, thank you so much for the introduction. My name is Shalin Nikita Ledwaba. I am a girl from rural Limpopo. I speak 5 languages. And the Zulu's just not getting there. I've been trying for a few years now, but it's just not sinking in. I'm a mother of 2 remarkable boys, and that is a role that I take extremely seriously. I'm a young talent advocate for graduates in corporate SA, and I was voted as one of the top 20 most influential graduate recruiters for 2020. And in my day-to-day life, I'm actually an early careers lead for a leading financial services institution. And I too have suffered from imposter syndrome. So today I really just want to talk to you about, are my slides moving, by the way? Aka, can you hear me?
Yes, they are.
Are they moving? Okay, yes. Awesome. So I really just want to talk to you about my lived experience, right, with imposter syndrome, and help you understand that as we go through life, we suffer from this amazing phenomena. And this phenomena, is not just with us, you and me, the ordinary girls who wake up every day, who come from a rural background, who show up. This imposter syndrome actually it's much deeper than we think it is, right? I promise you my slides will eventually make sense, but I thought it's important to also help you understand how imposter syndrome starts. If we look at the iceberg model, you'll notice that our thoughts, beliefs, and values are what eventually drive how we show up, our behavior, etc. Right? So I shared with you that I'm from rural Limpopo, right? Because a lot of times when we talk about rural Limpopo, people think, oh my gosh, long drop toilets. Instead of toilet paper, people use newspaper. For the majority of people, yes, this is correct, but people have also advanced. And imagine growing up in rural Limpopo. Imagine looking like me, a girl who is half Indian and half Pedi, I know, right? So I'm not from your conventional monoracial family, I'm biracial. On the left-hand side, there is my amazing Indian dad. And there I was about 4 years old on this picture. On the right-hand side is my mom and dad back in the day. This is probably taken in 1984, way before, kind of way before my time. And my mom and dad kind of, broke societal beliefs around biracial or interracial couples. And then I was born. So people already start putting you in a box asking you, are you Venezuelan? Are you from Somalia? Are you Black? Are you colored? Are you Indian? And I'm always just like, no, I'm the one who ticks other on the box. Right? Somebody said,
sorry to stop you, Shalin, but the slides we're seeing your view for some reason.
Are you saying my view?
Yeah, we're not seeing the audience view for some reason.
Okay, let me stop sharing and get back to my slides. Not sure why.
Yeah, we tested this out yesterday, guys. I don't know what's happening.
We did. Is it better now?
No.
Really?
I can see. Maybe check your network. I can see the slides.
Hi there.
Can you see my notes as well?
I can also see the slides.
Yeah,
yes,
we
I can
also see the slides.
Can you see the
notes as well? Yes, we do see. Yeah, slide 1 now.
Okay, so I'm just trying to see what is going on because, and if anybody is clued up on Zoom, it's not a platform I use very often. Please do help me out here. So, because you shouldn't be seeing my notes.
I can see your screen.
Can you see my screen?
Yes, without any problems.
Can you see my notes?
Yes, I see everything.
Yeah, we're seeing your view, not the audience view.
Okay, I don't know why. Let's try again.
Perhaps try to click F5 for slideshow.
Okay. Still seeing my view?
Yes.
Okay, you know what? I might have to do this without my notes, and that's okay. So bear with me. Is this better?
Yes, that's perfect.
Okay, awesome. And I'm moving around, right? So my slides are moving.
Yes, 100%.
Okay. Awesome. So imagine a girl who's half Indian, half Pedi, who comes from rural Venda and who speaks 5 languages, who looks like me. On some days, guys, I rock my afro. On other days, I turn it up and I cornrow my hair. And growing up, you'd go to an Indian salon and you were not Indian enough to get into that salon. You'd go to an African salon and you were not Black enough to get into that salon. I personally identify myself as Black, and I've worked for multinationals. So you already grow up thinking, oh my gosh, I don't belong, right? And that's the first thing. It goes back to the iceberg model around your thoughts, your values, and your beliefs and how you show up. So I grew up constantly thinking, I'm not enough because I don't fit into what the majority looks like. I walk into a multinational firm where people who are sitting around the table don't look like me. And when I say don't look like me, I mean, really, there were instances where I was the only Black girl sitting at an exco table, trying to, you know, sell my processes and how we can improve on efficiencies to people who didn't look like me. And I remember at the beginning of my career, I really dealt with males a lot. So I needed to overcome those beliefs because I walked in thinking these people are thinking that I am maybe colored, I am maybe Indian, and I may be Black, right? And actually, I'm telling myself these things. So I'm going in with this perception of what other people are thinking about me. Whereas in most cases, they're just seeing somebody who's showing up as their best self every single day. Another thing is I had a completely different trajectory from a normal graduate, where graduates would, you know, qualify and graduate from university, get into a management trainee program, an internship, or a graduate program. My trajectory was very different. So my parents got separated when I was 5 years old. So I came from a single household. My mom was a single mom. And I needed to then kind of step in and be a parent, because we know what black tax does. And I started working. So I started working, I studied as well. And then I had to start working in recruitment, which I did. Currently, I am running graduate programs for some of the biggest firms in Africa, right? I have done this based on the fact that I've needed to show up as my best self, regardless of what I think people are thinking of me. A lot of people that we meet, you know, actually don't have the perception that we have about ourselves. And I think what's important in this conversation is really how we talk to ourselves. Sometimes we are so brutal with the conversations we have with ourselves in our heads. It starts in the mind. It starts with how you wake up in the morning and how you talk to yourself. Be kinder to yourself. For this presentation, I've brought up the hashtag, I have suffered from imposter syndrome too. And I promise you, all of these slides will make sense as I go through this conversation. So in my mind, imposter syndrome has always been there. I just didn't know how to term it. I've always felt like I was a fraud. I've always felt like when I'm given opportunities or platforms to show up, are people actually setting me up? Right? It does get better with time, guys. It also gets better with how you speak to yourself in the morning. It gets better with the confidence you build and your mindset. We really need to stop these self-limiting beliefs of, you know, that we don't belong at a certain place. We don't belong in a boardroom. We don't deserve a seat at the table, because we actually do. And you'd be surprised at how many people who you sit with actually don't belong there, because some of the things they say just don't make sense. And I think for me, what has really helped in terms of conquering imposter syndrome has really been the fact that my purpose and my journey kind of found itself. So my career and me living my purpose every single day, which is impacting lives, adding value in organizations, and making sure that I show up for people who come after me, has anchored me and made me realize that actually I am a subject matter expert in the field that I'm in, which gives me more confidence. People look at you to create best practice. People look at you to change the game. So why not me, right? If not me, who else is supposed to come from rural Venda? Who else is supposed to be biracial and walk into the boardroom and actually improve processes and create space for the next generation? So why do we suffer from imposter syndrome? And I think it's important to understand that when you suffer from imposter syndrome, it's not something to shy away from, right? And as we go through these slides, we'll talk about destigmatization of imposter syndrome and how we really need to start having these conversations. I have been in instances where I have doubted myself. I have literally called my girls and said, guys, I've got this huge presentation. I'm not sure what I need to do. Can we quickly sit in a Teams meeting? This is what I've done. And I have had my cousins, I have had my family, my friends say to me, but there's absolutely nothing wrong with these slides. Stop doubting yourself. And I've started realizing that actually, people are coming to me for advice. Why do I keep doubting my worth? Why do I keep doubting myself? And I think that has really made it's made my life a whole lot better. So I think there are slides here that are not okay. There we go. So what is the risk of imposter syndrome, and when is this risk increased, right? We'll notice that if we, for example, get new challenges in life, in the workplace, if you've got an opportunity to apply for a role at a different role size than where you're currently at, you start asking yourself, am I worthy? Yes, you are. Why not, right? And this new sense of am I worthy creates or triggers imposterism. You feel undeserving of a new position, and you think that you're not going to be able to perform. So if you are already talking yourself down, who's supposed to blow your own horn? And I say this to my graduates all the time. I say, guys, don't be afraid to blow your own horn. We become so timid in what our CV looks like. We become so timid in interviews. Why? it's the only opportunity that people are going to get to understand who you are. Bring in your energy, bring in your A game. It's so important. Your family environment also plays a big part. So if, for example, you grow up alongside what we term a gifted sibling, you may internalize feelings of inadequacy that are not justified, right? And at the same time, a person who finds it easy to... Sorry? Is somebody saying something?
Please mute yourself.
Thanks, Aka. A person who finds it easy to perform well during childhood may, as they progress into adulthood, feel like they doubt themselves to actually achieve. And I think it's important to understand that we come from different backgrounds. That's why I showed you that iceberg model, because our beliefs, our thoughts, and our values are what creates how we show up. So we constantly need to, again, be kind to ourselves, be gracious in how we talk to ourselves in the mornings, in the evenings when we go to bed, meditate, be okay to be alone, and have really nice conversations with yourself. Think of yourself as your idol, and think about how you would talk to that person. I saw a quote the other day that says, we want to be these great women. Show up as every single day. Why not? Why not start now? I wish somebody, in my youth spoke to me about imposter syndrome earlier on, so that I would have been able to manage it a lot better. And I definitely think it has hampered certain areas, in terms of growth. And I think I'm thankful that I've overcome it and I'm able to show up as my best self when it creeps in. But I think if the conversation had happened earlier on, a lot of things would be different. But it's okay, right? Because now we know better and we start having these conversations a lot more. Another thing that increases the risk of imposter syndrome is being from a marginalized group, and we know what our challenges living in South Africa have been. So studies suggest that some people from ethnic groups may be at more risk. The experience of discrimination may play a role. We come from a place where it was weird growing up seeing a female driving in rural Venda. You're like, oh, I want to be like that person. Now, however, we see more people who are doing these things. We're seeing the first Black, the first Indian, the first colored, and even the first female, right? Because I think when we talk about marginalized groups, we really just put it to race. But the reality is, as women, we are also marginalized in the workplace, and we need to create space for the people who are going to come after us. We need to start having those tough conversations and saying, I don't agree with how it's always been done. This is how I think we can do going forward. I think, so another thing that happens is people who suffer from imposter syndrome tend to also have heightened depression and anxiety. And there are lots of studies and research that have gone into this, some of it debatable, but anxiety comes from you doubting yourself. Before you go into a meeting, am I good enough? Am I worthy? Yes, you are. You are worthy. Girl, child, you are worthy. You deserve to be there. And I think it's also important to have people around you who hype you up. I have big cheerleaders in my life, people who don't look like me, who have opened up doors for me, people who have said my name in rooms that I only found out later on that these conversations have happened. You need to put yourself around people who inspire you, people who, when you leave the room, are not talking badly about you, but are saying, I want to have that kind of aura. I want to bring in that kind of energy. So I'm quickly going to play a short video for you. And you'll understand that it's okay to suffer from imposter syndrome. It's not just you and I. People like Michelle Obama have suffered from imposter syndrome. Maya Angelou, Albert Einstein. These are people who have, made it, right? But they still suffer from imposter syndrome. It's really about how you show up anyway. Okay.
Mrs. Obama, could we quickly touch on imposter syndrome? Because I know it's something you have spoken a little bit about. There was a question from one of our leaders from Indonesia, feeling you're not good enough.
Yeah. How many people, this imposter syndrome, does everybody know what we're talking about when we say imposter? It's like,
I don't really know that term.
Well, particularly for minorities, you know, there's this feeling like because you've been told that you're not good enough, that when you're in a room, you're wondering, well, how did I get here if I've been told I'm not good enough? Women feel it oftentimes because society says you shouldn't be doing that, right? So you feel like an imposter in your own life. You feel like, especially if you've achieved success or you're in rooms that you're not supposed to be in because society has told you that, you think maybe somebody's going to discover that I shouldn't be here, right? That's imposter syndrome. Does that make sense?
It sure does.
So what I tell people is, okay, you know, and all I can do is tell you this because imposter syndrome it's a thing in your head. And, you know, it's just like self-confidence. It's just like, you know, it's like any internal characteristic. Much of it is what you practice telling yourself, you know, and if you've heard that you're not good enough, that's what you're practicing. I'm just here to tell you it is not true. You wouldn't be here. You wouldn't be doing what you're doing if you didn't belong here. And I also have the advantage of, and I say this not with any level of arrogance or lack of humility, but I have been at so many powerful tables now, right? I've been at, you know, I've worked in every sector. You know, I've been a lawyer at a big law firm. I've worked at an academic university, been associate dean. I've been the vice president in community development at a hospital. I've been, you know, run a nonprofit organization. I have worked in the government. I worked with the mayor in the city of Chicago. I worked in the Department of Planning and Development. I was First Lady of the United States of America. I've seen these seats. I've served on corporate boards. I've done it, not all, but I've done a lot. And I'm just telling you, there are a lot of people who don't belong there. And every table, I thought it was me. And after a little bit, I'm like, nope, it's him. It's this guy who's sitting here talking.
But they
all
act
the time.
so well. They act like they belong.
That's because they've been told they belong there. They don't. But there's a presumption. That's what I'm saying. It's in his head too. He's like, I belong here. And I'm like, no, you don't. So all I can tell you is that the person sitting next to you was told, based on nothing, that he belongs there. And you were told that you weren't. Both things are wrong, oftentimes. So what I had to learn to do for myself was being, you know, age helps you with imposter syndrome. So I'm 55 now, and I've seen it. I've been waiting to be as bad as people told me I would be, you know. I've been waiting for when I was going to fall and mess up and fail. I've been waiting because that's what they said. I didn't belong at Princeton, right? I applied to Princeton University. My college counselor said, you know, that's school's too much for you. Well, I applied anyway. I got in. I was waiting for it to be hard and for everybody else to be so much smarter. They weren't. They weren't. They were just told that they belong there. Same thing was true when I applied to Harvard Law School. Maybe I shouldn't be there. Got there. Nope. They're not any smarter than me. So with all the practice of just going into the room that you weren't supposed to be in and being there and occupying those seats and just doing you and knowing that your thoughts are just as relevant, your experiences are just as important, your insight is just as valuable, so that you will share it and use it and practice being there. That's the work you have to do if you feel like an imposter, because he isn't giving up his seat easily. He isn't going to just say, oh, I understand you don't feel like you belong here. Well, let me make room for you and sit you down and tell you the things you need to hear. They're not going to do that for you, because a lot of times they don't even want you there, even when they need you there. So you can't count on somebody else giving you the self-confidence. That's not how we work, you know? And that's why you all are important, because you're not going to do that for some kid in your life. You're going to make sure that they never feel like an imposter. You're going to help them practice a different set of messages so they aren't sitting here wondering where they belong in places where we need them. We need women and diverse minds and people who think differently and have different religious beliefs, because truth and the right answer comes from diversity of experiences. You know, you're needed at those tables. So you can't sit there wondering whether you belong, because you'll waste your time in those seats and you'll hold your voice back and you won't be able to make change because you're waiting for somebody to tell you that you belong. I'm telling you, you belong. Practice a different set of messages.
Mrs.
Awesome. I hope you enjoyed that video. And it's really just around how we talk to ourselves. We wake up in the morning, how we talk to ourselves. I think it's so important. It starts with us, right? It starts with us to destigmatize the issue of not belonging. We really need to remove any disgrace as being ACI candidates, as being females, as walking into places where we think we don't belong, especially in the workplace. And the workplace is where I have control for the generation and the women who come after me, and that is where I am going to make an impact. That is why I have I've given myself the title Momager. And I am keen on making space for the people who come after me, because I think it's important, right? It's so important to allow people the space to think differently. It's important to challenge the way things have always been done. We really need to show up with our authentic selves every single day and understand that there's power in our experiences. Let's continue to create space for people who will come after us, have those difficult conversations, change what normal looks like, and create diverse workplaces, create diverse conversations, hang out with people who do better than you in life, and, you know, be in a room of people who are going to clap for you constantly. Your cheerleaders are so important. Continue to lift as you rise. I think it's important to understand that we need to show simple acts of kindness, right? All of us have access to social media, LinkedIn, etc. It's simple. It's simple things that we can do. Share graduates' achievements on LinkedIn, hype up other girls in the workplace, hype up other people on social media. I have sponsored so many people's taxi fares to interviews, but I don't go around talking about it. But I know that I am creating space for the women who are going to come after me, people who deserve a shot at something. And I think it's important that we continue to do these little small acts of kindness to show up for other people, especially because the generation who came before us didn't really have those kind of opportunities. And they're starting to change the game. And as we come into the workplace, let's continue to be brave enough to change the workplace. Let's talk about imposter syndrome. There's absolutely nothing wrong with waking up some days and you have this important board meeting and you know that you've got to kick, you know what I want to say, you've got to kick some blah, blah, blah. And show up anyway. Show up and go and kick that blah, blah, blah. Show up with your authentic self, with your experiences, so that people who come after us understand that there's nothing wrong with feeling like you don't belong, but you do belong, right? And they need to just start having better conversations with themselves. It's important. I've said this so many times. Be kinder to yourself. The way you speak to yourself matters so, so much. Again, some awesome words. I think it starts with us. Let's stop feeling like you got lucky when you actually prepared well and worked hard to be where you're at. I can tell you, when I was growing up, I always knew I wanted to be successful. I always knew that I wanted to change things for the generation that comes after me. So I worked my butt off to be where I'm at right now. And it's not going to stop. It's going to continue because there are people who don't look like me even, who've created and made space for me. I get calls saying, Shalin, there's this opportunity, would you be interested? And I'm going to take up that opportunity because it's going to put me on a platform that creates space for people who come after me. Accept the praise. There's nothing wrong, guys, when people praise you for your hard work, for showing up, for changing the game. There is nothing wrong. Accept that praise. Live with it. Dwell in it. Those low-hanging fruits, those quick wins that you keep winning and smashing those goals every week, talk to yourself and actually pour, those who drink, pour yourself a glass of wine and say, I deserve this. Cheers to the weekend. Find inspiration in other people's successes without talking yourself down. It's okay to fix other women's crowns and not share it with the world. It's okay for you to praise other women and not feel like you are inferior or you're not doing enough. Guys, stay in your lane. We're not competing with each other. We're here to praise and sing for each other. We're here to show up for each other in more ways than one. Stop holding yourself to incredibly, sometimes impossibly high standards. I battled with this a lot. I really wanted to be a perfectionist in all areas of my life, and I realized perfection sometimes is very superficial, right? So fail fast and fail forward, persevere in the face of failure. If there's anything you take away today, take away these notes. Go and read up on a growth mindset versus a fixed mindset. It's so important for us to just continue to persevere, to continue to step up when we fail, and accept failure as part of your experience to learn. Accept failure as something positive. We need to start thinking about it differently. There is no space in corporate SA, unfortunately, for anybody who is still sitting with a fixed mindset. We need to adapt. We need to be agile. We need to continue to build capabilities within ourselves, right? Don't find the fear of failure paralyzing. Learn from it. Ask yourself, what is this experience teaching me? How do I get better next time? Okay? Start expressing confidence and stop thinking, what will people see? Will they see you as obnoxious? Will they see you as overconfident? Start talking to yourself better. Show up as the woman that you want to be in future. Nothing is stopping you right now. Stop convincing yourself that you're not enough. I did this for a very big part of my life because of my biracial background, because of coming from rural Venda, and I realized that actually I am enough. And I deserve a seat at the table, to make space for the girls and boys who come after me, to make space for people to think that it's normal to succeed in life. Whether you've had the odds stacked against you, whether you come from a single household family, you deserve that seat at the table. Be great, become a subject matter expert, read and adapt and build capability in the area of your specialization. Absolutely nothing is stopping you from being great. I promise you, this is the last video that I'm going to quickly play for you because I think it's quite important.
You are responsible for your life. And if you're sitting around waiting on somebody to save you, to fix you, to even help you, you are wasting your time, because only you have the power to take responsibility to move your life forward. What matters is now, this moment, and your willingness to see this moment for what it is, accept it, forgive the past, take responsibility, and move forward. I came to realize that all the time I was praying to God, asking for God to do something, God was waiting on me. You are responsible.
Awesome. So if we can quickly go back to Mentimeter, just very, very quickly, and then I'm going to take some of the questions that have come up. I see the chat flicking, but I can't see what is on the chat. If we can quickly go back to Mentimeter, let's talk about some of the lessons learned today, and let's see how we show up, or what we've learned from today's session. Just very quickly, if we can go back to Mentimeter. Aka, are you able to please put the code? Is the code reflecting on my presentation? Hello?
Yes, it's there.
My message.
Okay, no problem. I just quickly want to open up the Mentimeter. Okay. Let's go. So what were some of your learnings today? What can you take out of today's conversation, presentation? I'd really like to know if it's added any value, and for you to understand that you are not alone when you wake up and you doubt yourself. We're in this together. We just need to be braver about some of the choices and things we say to ourselves when we're alone. So what were some of your learnings today? I'd like to see that coming through. You are capable. I am enough. I deserve that seat. Yes, I belong. Awesome. I see some people are still typing. Let's get back into Mentimeter. You are worthy. I too am deserving. Race does not define you. Amen. I belong. I am worthy. I love it. I love it, guys. I think it's important for us to really just be kinder to ourselves. Show up now, accept failure, right? As mentioned, fail fast, fail forward, build your confidence, blow your own horn. Hashtag blow your own horn. It's important to blow your own horn. On your CV, on your LinkedIn profile, it's the little wins. It's the things that are going to make you stand out. It's the things that are going to build your confidence going forward. I feel encouraged. Guys, welcome challenges. If not me, then who? Yes, secure your seat. Yes, girl, secure your seat and secure the bag. It's important because we do these things because we actually do want to be successful, right? And success is defined by our own mindsets and our own thoughts and beliefs and values. My squad should be hype. Awesome. I love it. I love it. I love it. Aka, I'm not able to see the chat. So if you could just share that, anything that has come up, any questions, etc., that would be really cool. I'm going to stop sharing, guys, so that we can actually have a conversation.
Somebody said, I am more than a conqueror. Wow.
Awesome. Okay. Guys, I really hope that today was amazing. I hope that you've taken some lessons and understood that these conversations need to happen a little bit more. And I hope that I have, you feel impacted and you feel that you're not alone when you do suffer from imposter syndrome, right? We all do. So just be kind, be gracious to other women who are showing up every single day, because you have no idea where they come from, what they've done, what they've been through. Create the space. We are not competing with each other. We're all on our own lanes, our own journeys. Please do connect with me on LinkedIn. I have put the link there. Or in simple terms, you can really just search for Shalin Ledwaba. You can also email me if you've got any questions. Please do that. I'd love to hear from you. And I am big on mentoring and coaching girls. I am big on development. And I think let's continue to shape and design the world that our children and their children will live in. Alice, I see your hand up.
Good morning, Shalin, and good morning, ladies. So I just have a question. Firstly, I'd just like to say thank you. This is a webinar that I never knew I needed, but I actually need it. But I just have a question. Can you suggest some practical ways or everyday exercises that we can practice just to overcome imposter syndrome every day, those little baby steps?
Definitely. So Alice, I think that's such an important question. Guys, I promise you feel so different when you wake up early in the morning and you meditate. If you're a spiritual person, I pray a lot. I really talk to God around my confidence. I talk to God about creating more space for people who look like me, some of my challenges, and really just to be a nice person overall. And some people will, it doesn't matter how nice you think you are, some people will there will always be that one or two people who think, nah, this one is too confident, and it's okay, right? But I think meditation is important. I think it's important to read books. You know, get a coach, get a life coach. I've seen a few names here that are very familiar to me who are life coaches. And I think it's important to reach out to people. We've got access to social media. We're not doing enough networking as girls. We still talk ourselves down, ask ourselves if this person is going to respond to my LinkedIn, etc. A lot of us who've been in the workplace are keen to mentor and coach people to show up as their best selves every single day. Alice, I hope that answers your question.
Thank you so much. It actually does.
Awesome. I see a question from Gwendoline saying, what advice do you have for further creating spaces for women to unite and build each other? I think, Gwendoline, these conversations help. I think where you can control what you can, start platforms. Myself and a few friends in the industry started a webinar now during the lockdown that actually creates space for people who want to get better in their careers. We bring in different experts once a month, and we start having just chilled conversations on a Saturday. It really is about what you want to do and how you want to further impact lives. I know that I've gone over time, Aka. I can see Aka's face there. I know I've gone over time and I see there's a lot of questions, but I'm so happy that it looks like this has been really impactful and has really added value. It was definitely worth the time on a Saturday morning, and I really hope that you guys continue to be kinder to yourselves so that you can be kinder to the rest of the world.
Hi, Shalin, I think you can do a few more questions because I see everybody wants to hang around. But before you answer those questions, everybody, I've posted a link in the chat box. I would be doing it from my laptop, but that thing just went crazy. So please, once this event is over, click on the event review form and help us to make our events better so we can do more amazing things and create spaces. Okay, and if you're interested in joining G4G, once you complete the event review form, there is a link in there, automatic response, that will guide you, that will lead you into learning more about G4G or joining the alumni. If you want to help create more spaces for women to better themselves and do what Shalin is doing, being an awesome momager, please join G4G, okay? This is the place to be, all right? On to more questions, please.
Awesome. So I see that Aka, you put it nicely. You said kick some butts. Definitely. Sometimes I can be a little bit vulgar when I'm talking about a topic that I'm quite close to. So definitely kick some butts. I would have said kick some ass. So that was my bleep, bleep, bleep. And yes, definitely we all belong. Nobile, thank you so much for that. Asirufuno says, this has just made me realize that we find ourselves in a special position. We are in the age of firsts. We are breaking barriers. It will not be easy. It's hard, but we are changing the narrative. Let's embrace the positions we find ourselves in. Let's fight the fight to right the wrongs. Beautiful, beautiful. And I see Gwendoline says, yes, we need to change the narrative of competition between us women. Guys, this is such an important conversation. It's a conversation on top of a conversation, right? We really need to start clapping for each other. There is nothing wrong with fixing someone else's crown and not taking pictures. There is nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with creating a space for 3 or 4 girls and just having a Saturday morning brunch conversation. Let's start doing that more. We're not in competition with each other. Let's stay in our own lanes and let's just be great at being females in the workplace, and understand that these talents and these experiences are going to be different, and we need to have these conversations. Charmaine, I see your hand is up.
Hello, ladies. I would like to ask a question. In terms of, let's say, were there ever times you missed opportunities or you sabotaged your chances of sitting in important tables because you felt like you were not enough? Because I must imagine in your head, you keep on telling yourself that you are not enough. So you find yourself missing opportunities, and then you go back and you prove to yourself that actually you are not enough. So you don't belong. So what's the point of you being in tables? Because that's what I wanted to ask.
Thanks, Charmaine. I think
my question.
I did. So yes, there has definitely been a time when Bokang, you have started sharing your screen. I'm not sure if it's intentional. But definitely, Charmaine, I think I'm going to give you an example. I walked into an interview once in a really amazing engineering firm. It was a great opportunity, but I walked in there and this building was huge. It was like amazing. And when I walked into the room, there was a panel of 5 people sitting there and none of them looked like me, right? And I walked in and they started asking me questions that I would have killed it on a normal day because I've done this so many times. But I walked in and I self-sabotaged because already I walked in thinking, what's this rural girl from Limpopo doing here? Do I deserve to be here? And I walked into that meeting and words just couldn't come out of my mouth, the right words. I would answer questions and I'm like, that was stupid. And I continued to self-sabotage throughout that interview and I didn't get the job, right? So yes, I have experienced it. I think what's important is, again, to fail fast and fail forward. Go back. It's important to reflect on your experiences. It's important to learn from them and say, I'm going to do better next time. So I walk into buildings now and girl, you kill it because you do deserve a seat at that table. And I think what's important is not to sit there. Don't sit in that hole. Crawl out really quickly. When you reflect and you have these conversations, I think, especially with your cheerleaders, they will say to you, it's okay. It's okay. There's going to be another opportunity. And had I not gone through that opportunity, I probably wouldn't be where I am right now. That has helped me show up better, right? I could have just used it and said, oh, I'm not good enough. No, I'm actually going to do better in the next interview. I'm actually going to show up in the next amazing building somewhere out there in Sandton because I deserve to be there. I have worked really hard and I deserve to be here to create space for people who come after me. Oratile, I hope I've answered your question. I'm just seeing your question now. How does one get up after multiple failures and tell themselves they're better and worthy? Again, it starts with how you talk to yourself. Failure is part of life. We're not never going to fail. We are going to fail, and it's okay. It's how we get up from failing. It's how we wake up the next morning and say, I'm going to be better than the person I was yesterday. Your competition is with you. It's not with the next woman. It's not with the next girl. It's not with somebody who is 5-10 years younger than you. Your competition is with you. So again, just be kinder to yourself. Nosipo says self-sabotage is a real thing, and sadly enough, it contributes to our downfall. It's all about building that confidence slowly and being okay with not knowing sometimes. Just don't make it your norm. I completely agree. It shouldn't be the norm. Awesome. It looks like I think I've answered all the questions, Aka. I'm not sure if anybody else has any other questions or comments.
Awesome. Have you read Jessica's question yet?
Not yet. So Jessica
said, what advice can you give to a young person that wants to enter spaces where there are older people who obviously have more experience and will look down on you because of your age, not really getting to know or understand what you are capable of?
Jessica, thank you so much for that question. And there's a bit of bias, right? Because I'm in the young talent space. Personally, I think the generations that come after us, the young people come in with such diverse thinking. and we need to give them a seat at the table. But when you do walk into, for example, spaces where there are people older than you, listen to them, because there's wisdom there as well. It doesn't mean that you know it all. Have those conversations. It's the how you have these conversations, less about what you say, but how you say it. Understand that there's a lot of wisdom. Take that wisdom, use it with your thinking, and understand that you can also show up. So just show up as your best self. Show up and people will give you a seat at that table.
Awesome. I'm going to post again in the chat box the event review form. Please, everybody, complete the event review form. It helps us make our events 100 times better. And there'll be more information in there about how you can contribute to G4G and contribute to the betterment of other women. First of all, Shalin, I think we need G4G, show her some G4G love, throw some flowers. We want to see some bouquets in the chat box, please. Show her what G4G is made of. I'm going to do the same as well right now. I'm going to drop hundreds of flowers in the chat box.
Thank you. Thanks,
Hey,
Aka.
flowers to you. Thank you so much for joining us today.